for me, of course, I mean, games and play are both the same thing, but also quite different things. Play comes more from the, if we talk about the individual person, if we talk about children, from the child. Children play and they create things. It's creative. They do things with it and they change things with it. And games, in a sense, on the other side, have some sort of structure or rules or organization. Then of course it can actually look the same in practice. Children play games, and in games there can be play. So and I think that, I mean, it could be running. If we take then children often, you want to win, but not with that much. That is playing. While games is more, you should win and it should be certain rules and so forth. And games can also be, of course, is it collective or individually, because you can play by yourself. Games normally include relation to something else, and games can of course also be games in a more traditional sense, not playing like ball games or other types of games. So I think that there's an interesting difference, and I think we should focus more on play than games when we start with children, because I think that is a more distinct or better way to meet the children's ideas, creativity, needs, influence, focusing on the rights of the child, you have a right to play and so forth. So I think getting more play into games and starting more with play would be something I would prefer.
Yes, this is perfect. And in terms of teaching or coaching, how could we make pre-service teachers or young coaches consider this that you said?
I think it's a lot about creating spaces for children's influence, children's creativity, helping them to maybe change things. And I mean, if children decide what to do, then I mean, if it is a game and you play basketball, for example, and if it's too uneven, they will change, because that is not fun. They want to play within. And I think, of course, there has to be structure if we have work as a coach or a teacher, because you might have 25 kids, but still getting the notions of play into it. Then we need to know what are the aspects of play that we need, and also sometimes also, of course, the context and where we are and the place is important. Probably play is easier in natural environment than in a sports hall with lines on the floor and a certain kind of balls and that. So we need to use different spaces to encourage play more, but also helping kids reflect in what they do with their bodies, and I think it's important.
Yes, this perspective is very unique, I think, and you made me think we are seeking to change the name in concern to games or play, but maybe we need to change our perspective on teaching and coaching instead of games or play, because games or play are there already.
And I mean, it's about how do we create the best possible conditions for children, allowing them to play. And I mean, I've done studies in school, and sometimes teacher opened the doors and the kids started to play in the sport hall, and then suddenly stop, now we need to be serious, now the lesson starts, instead of, okay, what is happening here, how can we continue from this? I mean, it's more, might be more difficult, but picking up what kids are doing and listening to them and using their creativity to change things, I think that is a wonderful way to do but it's not only children, of course. It's young people, it's adults. Why don't we open up more for in adult physical activities? Open up for more play also there too.
I think it has to do with the playfulness of teaching and coaching.
Yeah.
We are not very used to being playful when we teach.
No, exactly. And then of course we need to understand what are the if the purpose is to learn to or continue to play, then the activity becomes something else. If the purpose is to learn a game, I think always we need to start with the purposes. Where do we want to go? That is what gives a direction to how we do things and what we do.
Okay. And now that we are seeking to change the name, how do you have any idea of how could we make it broad enough? What do we need to consider so that we make it broad enough so that we don't confine ourselves to a model or a kind of practice?
Good question, but I mean, I come from education and pedagogy. For me, it's a pedagogical question. And pedagogy for me is creating the best possible circumstances for young people's growth and all children's growth. So we need to, of course, also take into account that there is different children with different backgrounds, different ideas and different ethnicities or race, and so I mean it's a lot to do. But I think listening to the kids and their reasons to be there and their purposes of participating in a certain activity or practice is important.
Can we make coaching pedagogical?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Coaching is about pedagogy. For me, coaching is about pedagogy.
Because some people say, I'm not a teacher, I'm a coach. So they take an identity that is...
I mean, for me, it's not only teaching that is pedagogical and making the activities or what you do meaningful. It's the same in coaching. I mean, how do we make what we're doing within coaching meaningful for the ones we are coaching or the ones we are working with at the moment?
But the usual argument from coaches or from pre-service teachers that want to be coaches that we need to have specific performance outcomes. We can't be so playful.
No, I get that, but we need to re-understand the purposes and the outcomes. If we work in sports with young people, maybe the outcome for all kids or why they are there isn't to become world champions or win or be best in sport. They might be there for different reasons. What are their reasons on what is meaningful for them in that situation? Then it's definitely a pedagogical question, and I think listening to them will make more kids stay in sports for longer, and that is another higher purpose of sports than the performance aspect.
Okay, you covered my questions completely. I don't want if you need to add something.
No, fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.